Hey tech enthusiasts, welcome back to the channel. Are you ready for a legal and ethical roller coaster? Because today, we're diving headfirst into the murky waters of AI-generated images and copyright law. A mind-blowing 15 billion images have been generated by AI. But here's the million-dollar question. Should these AI-created images be granted the same legal protection as human-made art? Or should they be considered public domain, free for anyone to use? This is a debate that's splitting the creative world in half, and the stakes are higher than you think. Stick around, because we're about to break down the arguments, the court cases, and the potential future of AI and intellectual property. You might be shocked by what you discover. Let's start with the basics. Intellectual property, or IP, is the bedrock of creativity and innovation. It's what gives creators the exclusive right to their work, protecting it from unauthorized use and exploitation. Think of copyright, patents, trademarks. These are all forms of IP that incentivize artists, inventors, and businesses to keep creating and innovating. Now, enter AI. This disruptive technology is changing the game across every industry, and the creative sector is no exception. AI is projected to boost productivity in the creative sector by a staggering 40% by 2035. But with this increased productivity comes a whole new set of challenges, especially when it comes to intellectual property. We're talking about authorship, authenticity, misinformation, privacy violations, and the increased ease of copyright infringement. It's a complex web, but understanding these challenges is crucial to navigating the future of AI and creativity. So, how exactly are these AI-generated images created? Well, it all starts with training artificial neural networks using massive datasets of images. The AI learns the characteristics of these images and then uses that knowledge to generate new ones. There are several models used for this. Let's look at a few. First, we have generative adversarial networks, or GANs. GANs use two neural networks, a generator and a discriminator, to create images that are almost indistinguishable from the original training data. It's like a constant battle between the two networks, with the generator trying to create more realistic images and the discriminator trying to spot the fakes. This is the technology behind those incredibly realistic deepfake images you've probably seen online. Next, we have text understanding using natural language processing. This model translates textual inputs into numerical representations that the AI can understand. So, when you type in a prompt like a cat wearing a hat, the AI uses natural language processing to create an image based on your description. Finally, we have neural style transfer. This technique fuses two different images together, combining the content of one image with the style of another. Imagine taking a photo of your house and applying the style of Van Gogh's Starry Night to it. That's neural style transfer in action. Let's dig a bit deeper into generative adversarial networks, or GANs. These networks are fascinating because they mimic a competitive learning process. The generator network is constantly trying to fool the discriminator network by creating more and more realistic images. The discriminator, on the other hand, is trying to get better at spotting the fakes. This adversarial process drives both networks to improve, resulting in increasingly sophisticated and realistic AI-generated images. Think of it like an artist constantly refining their technique based on feedback from a critic. The artist is the generator, the critic is the discriminator, and the artwork is the AI-generated image. The effectiveness of GANs hinges on the size and diversity of the training dataset. The more images the AI has to learn from, the better it will be at generating new ones. This is also where the potential for copyright infringement comes into play, as these training datasets often include copyrighted images. It's a complex issue with no easy answers, and it's at the heart of the legal debate surrounding AI-generated images. The seminal paper on GANs is Generative Adversarial Nets by Goodfellow et al. In 2014, which laid the foundation for this powerful technique. Now, let's get to the heart of the matter, copyright law. Traditionally, copyright protects creative works that are original and have a human author. But what happens when an image is created by an AI? Can an AI be considered an author under the law? This is where things get tricky. Some jurisdictions, like the Beijing Internet Court in the case of Li versus Liu, have ruled that AI-generated images can qualify for copyright protection, recognizing the intellectual investment in the prompts and parameters used to create the image. However, other jurisdictions, like the US, have taken a different stance. In the case of Thaler versus Perlmutter, the US court ruled that human authorship is a requirement for copyright protection. This means that, in the US, purely AI-generated images are not eligible for copyright and are considered to be in the public domain. This conflicting legal landscape creates uncertainty and confusion for creators and businesses alike. It also raises fundamental questions about the nature of creativity and authorship in the age of AI. The Thaler versus Perlmutter case is a landmark decision that has significant implications for the future of AI and copyright law in the United States. Stephen Thaler, the plaintiff in the case, argued that his AI system, Dabus, should be recognized as the author of a particular artwork. However, the U.S. Copyright Office and the courts rejected this argument, stating that copyright protection is reserved for works created by human authors. The court emphasized that the purpose of copyright law is to incentivize human creativity and that granting copyright to AI-generated works would not serve this purpose. This decision has been met with both support and criticism. Some argue that it upholds the traditional understanding of copyright and protects the rights of human creators. Others argue that it stifles innovation and fails to recognize the potential of AI as a creative tool. Regardless of your perspective, the Thaler versus Perlmutter case is a crucial turning point in the legal debate surrounding AI-generated images and copyright law. The court's decision aligns with the human authorship requirement established in previous cases like the Feist Publications Incorporated v. Rural Tel Serve Company case, which emphasized the need for a human creative spark for copyright protection. Beyond the question of authorship, AI-generated images also raise concerns about copyright infringement. AI models are trained on massive datasets, which often include copyrighted images, texts, and other creative works. This raises the question of whether the use of copyrighted materials in training these models constitutes copyright infringement. A recent study found that many generative AI models, such as Bloomberg GPT, are partly trained through copyright infringement of well-known authors. This indiscriminate use of copyrighted materials has led to various legal actions by aggrieved parties. Think about it. If an AI model is trained on copyrighted images and then generates a new image that is substantially similar to one of those copyrighted images, is that copyright infringement? The answer is not always clear, and it often depends on the specific facts of the case. However, the potential for copyright infringement is a significant concern that needs to be addressed as AI-generated images become more prevalent. The U.S. Copyright Office recently released detailed guidelines on the issue of copyright protection and AI-generated work. They determined that existing law is sufficient to address AI-related copyright issues and that no new legislation is required. The Copyright Office also emphasized that the use of AI tools to assist human creativity does not disqualify the output from copyright protection. However, purely AI-generated material, or material where there is insufficient human control over the expressive elements, is not eligible for copyright. In other words, if you use AI as a tool to enhance your own creativity, you can still copyright your work. But if you simply type in a prompt and let the AI generate an image without any further human input, that image is likely not protected by copyright. The Copyright Office's guidelines provide some clarity on this complex issue, but they also leave room for interpretation and debate. It's likely that we'll see more court cases in the future that further define the boundaries of copyright protection for AI-generated images. The office's determination leans heavily on the concept of human authorship, which has been a cornerstone of copyright law since its inception. So what does all of this mean for the future of AI and creativity? Well, it's clear that AI is here to stay, and it's going to continue to transform the creative landscape. As AI models become more sophisticated, it will become increasingly difficult to distinguish between human-made and AI-generated art. This raises profound questions about the nature of creativity, authorship, and the value of human expression. It's crucial that we have a robust legal framework in place to protect the rights of creators and to ensure that AI is used in a responsible and ethical manner. This may involve developing new licensing models, establishing clear guidelines for the use of copyrighted materials in AI training, and fostering collaboration between artists, technologists, and policymakers. The key is to find a balance between promoting innovation and protecting the rights of creators. It's a challenging task, but it's one that we must address if we want to ensure a sustainable future for creativity in the age of AI. What do you guys think about this situation? Let me know in the comments below. I am super interested to read your thoughts on this. Do you think AI-generated images should be protected by copyright? Or should they be free for all? Let's start a conversation.